Good morning and welcome. So today I'm in my kitchen. It's a beautiful day outside. I should be outside gardening, but I hurt my hip a couple of weeks ago, well 4 weeks ago, and it's feeling a lot better today actually, but I don't want to overdo it with gardening, but I will be getting out soon. So what I want to do today is something, a practice I do quite regularly, which is I health up, I call it, recipes. So there are plenty of really good recipes out there, but often they're laden with sugars, and we know that's not really very supportive to us, particularly for weight management, hormone balance, well, everything actually, inflammation, so many different things that it can impact. And at Easter, when my family came, I made a pavlova. Yep, it's laden with sugar. And I also made a beautiful cake, a spice, carrot, pistachio and almond cake, which I had from this book, Persiana, written by Sabrina, I think it's Gayor, but I'm not sure how to say that, so I do apologise if I haven't pronounced that correctly. And this cake was really lovely. I was quite surprised. I don't know why I should be, because it looked lovely, so I thought I'd try it. But the full recipe serves 10 people, and it lasted a long time. Even though we had 5 people here eating it, it seemed to last me the rest of the week, but it does last well. It says, the lady says, I simply keep this cake on a plate covered with cling film and find it can be kept like this for up to 1 week. So that's quite a good cake to make if you want it, say, just to have it there for guests who turn up, or if you've got children back from school. And what I liked about this is, I'll read you the ingredients list. It's got free-range eggs, it's got caster sugar in it, and that's the bit I want to replace. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Vanilla extract, ground almonds, desiccated coconut, ground cinnamon, unsalted butter. I'm going to replace that today with coconut oil because I haven't got any butter, but I don't mind butter, particularly if it's grass-fed. And then it's 2 large carrots in this recipe, and shelled pistachio nuts. And then there's icing sugar for dusting. Now I won't do that, I will just miss that out. And this cake says to serve it with rose water cream. And again, I'm not going to do that. I do have some cream actually in the fridge from this weekend. But you could serve it as easily, I think, with yogurt. I think that would be nice. And then sprinkle it with pistachio nuts. And also, I don't have rose water, but I do have rose petals, and I will be sprinkling the cake and the cream or yogurt with rose petals. Now, as I say, this recipe has caster sugar in it, and whenever I find a recipe with a sugar, caster sugar, brown sugar, granulated sugar, whichever sugar it may be, I like to swap it out, and I tend to use dates, maple syrup or honey. Now I tend not to bake with honey because there's so many beautiful properties in honey that heat can destroy, so I like to put that into something that might be that's not cooked, a bit like a cheesecake kind of affair. But maple syrup and dates I quite often use in cooking. Now I think this cake would be good with dates, but I'm going to try it with maple syrup today, and I'm going to be cautious with the amount of maple syrup because I'm replacing a dry sugar with a liquid sugar, which is the maple syrup, and it may impact the actual mix of the cake, so I'm going to be very cautious with it. And I don't like things too sweet anyway, and I find many cakes are too sweet, many sweets are too sweet for me, and it may be my taste buds have changed somewhat over the years, but I'm going to do it, won't be the equivalent amount, and I've been trying to find out the equivalent that you would need of maple syrup for caster sugar, and it's less sweet anyway, but I don't want to do like for like. I'm going to go much lower and see how it turns out. So join me, see how it goes. And we'll do a taste test at the end. Well, I will do the taste test. You'll just have to watch me. I'm sorry about that. We don't do tasty TV at the minute. But I'm going to get started and see how it all works out. The original recipe was for 10 people, so I decided to reduce that quantity, and rather than do a recipe with 3 eggs, I did it with 2, and I changed the other ingredients accordingly. And so my cake should probably serve between 4 and 6 people. It is supposed to be a batter, but mine again didn't look like a batter when I finished. I do find there's something quite therapeutic of baking a cake by hand. I particularly enjoyed chopping the pistachio nuts by hand. It really, I don't know, connects you more to your food. But you could do this in a processor and chop the nuts in a processor, or even grate the carrots in a processor for speed. Well, the cake is now out of the oven. It was in for about 55 minutes. It's quite shallow, and I have to say the coconut oil, a lot of it came out in the cooking, so it was in the tray that I put underneath the cake tin. So I think actually it's better with butter, but and it's still a bit warm, so it's better cooled. One thing about this cake as well is that you can make it ahead and let it cool in the tin overnight. So it's a good one if you do have visitors coming. So let's see how this looks. Right, cakey. I'm not sure. We'll see how it tastes. I think that's always more important, how things taste. So I've got a little bit of cream. Put on the side. And I'm going to sprinkle on just a few rose petals. They smell wonderful. And then I kept back some of the pistachio nuts. So there it is. Let's see if I can give you a better look. And here it is, the final item. Carrot, pistachio and almond cake. With a little bit of cream, with a dusting of pistachio nuts and rose petals. And now for the taste test. And now let's see what it tastes like. It's nice actually. I think it's more crumbly than the original. It's worked. What I like is that it's not too sweet, but it's not lacking either to my taste. So yes, don't be afraid to take a recipe and change the ingredients. I mean, if you don't have pistachios, you can put in chopped almonds or another nut. You might want to put some sultanas in. You may, you know, just have fun with some recipes. And when it comes to baking, you do have to be more precise, I think, but I mess around with recipes all the time, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But this one, I would say, yes, you can just remove the caster sugar and add in some maple syrup. Next time I'll try dates and see how that works. That might be better. So there's not so much liquid with that. So, bon appetit. Cup of tea now.